Welcome back. We just discussed the FOMC or the Fed impact, but Asia is throwing up separate set of issues. The Chinese regulators have been, on the one hand, loosening the economy. They are cutting their CRR. On the other hand, they have been upping restrictions on tech companies. Separately, Asia has taken a backseat in terms of both growth and fund flows because of the resurgence of the Delta variant. How will all these trends pan out and impact India? I'm being joined by Jahangir Aziz, the head of emerging market economics at JP Morgan. Well, Jahangir, thank you very much. First, parse for us what is happening in China. They are cutting CRR or reserve requirement, and yet they are tightening rules for tech companies. Just explain this to us.
That's correct, and it's impacting stock markets because it is throwing in the midst of all of this uncertainty. You talked about, the Delta variant. And again, we are not out of that at all by any stretch of the imagination, particularly in Asia. It is throwing in uncertainties, and most likely you will see an impact being felt, and you're already seeing the impact being felt on equities. You will see the impact being felt on medium-term equity flows also. But we also must realize that, we look at the MSCI index and we say, well, 43% of MSCI index happens to be China, and all of that is going to have a massive impact on Chinese economy. But you have to step back and understand that of that 43% of Chinese weight in MSCI, only 5% is Shanghai stocks. Okay. The remainder of the 39%, 38% happens to be Chinese stocks that have been listed either in the US or in Hong Kong, so that the impact on the economy per se, even if the impact on the economy from the decline in stock market, investor confidence, etc., might be large, it isn't going to be very large in terms of flows.
Okay. Well, let me come to the other restrictions. I mean, there have also been export taxes on steel. Sure. What will China's impact be on commodities? Is it going to be inflationary?
So I think if you look at the way in which China has been affecting global commodities, it has mostly been on the metals complex rather than on the oil complex. Oil still seems to be run almost entirely by what is happening to OPEC plus restrictions and global recovery in services, particularly airlines industry, where China does play a role. I'm not saying China doesn't play a role, but it is not the major driver of oil in the industry. However, in metals, China has been for a very long time the largest marginal driver, let's say, of copper, for example, and continues to be. However, in sometime around, I would say, December of last year, we did see, probably related to the U.S. elections, you saw a breakaway in metals demand. Metals demand was no longer being driven primarily by Chinese credit flows or Chinese demand, but was being driven by this view of inflation hedging. That concerns started to emerge in the market. It may not have been concerns for everybody. It may have been hope for a lot of people that a reflation trade was back on, and the reflation trade would lead to very high inflation numbers, and you needed something to hedge inflation. Gold out as the inflation hedge, and commodities became the inflation hedge. So I think much of the price movement that you've seen in commodities, particularly in metals, over the last 6-7 months has clearly not been driven by anything that's happening in China, because if that was the case, then metal prices should have nosedived. Instead, it has been driven by inflation hedging, and there is a different call. It's a call on inflation, where inflation goes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I think there is a divergence now in the commodities field, particularly in metals, where Chinese demand has become far less influential as a driver, and inflation hedging has taken over as the bigger driver of metal. So in terms of metal prices, I would wait and see how global inflation plays out, particularly US inflation plays out, and how that affects inflation hedging going forward.
Well, I am going to pin you down to how you expect inflation to pan out. But before that, first the growth question.
Sure.
Would you worry that emerging market growth itself may be slower because we are seeing increasing instances of lockdown in EMs rather than in DMs so much? So will it be slower, and therefore will that affect fund flows? Are we going to see smart money prefer developed markets over EMs?
Look, that has been the basis of why not just smart money, but even passive money, in the last 6, 7 months. I don't think that changes materially. But I think that, putting emerging markets in a single category is not correct. There are emerging markets and emerging markets. And I think the manner in which different countries, the manner in which they react to pandemic, that's the one that's been differentiating.
Okay.
So if you think about before the second wave happened, right? Before the Delta variant happened, if you look at, vaccination was not part or was not a central part of any of the emerging market countries' pandemic strategy. It was only of the developed market countries who thought that vaccination was the principal way in which they would, counter pandemic. Instead, if you looked at emerging markets, particularly Asian emerging markets, they tended to rely much more on lockdowns as a way of handling pandemic. And it is also natural because they are the ones who have gone through 2 rounds of SARS over the last 15 years. And, those days there were no vaccination for SARS. There were basically lockdowns and they were quite comfortable doing that. I think what the second wave has shown is that lockdowns per se is not a solution to your problems. You have to get vaccination as part of your strategy. And the vaccination has now become part of the strategy. So I think that in countries such as Latin America and Europe, I think you're not going to see the kind of lockdowns being done. And I don't think that we are too worried about growth in Latin America and in Europe. In fact, in the second quarter itself, they've all surprised in the upside. I think Asia is the place where we are worried. And we are worried because Asia tends to use lockdowns as a supplement to vaccination, doesn't just rely on vaccination.
Got that. So there is going to be an issue of flows not being so good to Asia. Now let me come to macroeconomic policy, especially with respect to India. Do you think India will be forced to pay attention to inflation? Are you worried that global inflation will be, increasing, exacerbating domestic inflation, and therefore we have to at some point take our eye off growth and concentrate on inflation sometime soon?
Right. So I think, the global inflation front, I think every country more or less is facing exactly the same sort of situation. We had 2020 lockdown where, there was a lot of pent-up demand. That pent-up demand has now filtering into the economy, not anywhere close to a full recovery, but it's filtering through the economy. The second wave obviously was a disappointment, but post the second wave, even in India, you will see pent-up demand going up. On the other hand, and this is something that we severely underestimated, by we, I mean almost everyone, severely underestimated, which is the logistical disruptions that the pandemic created. And consequently, what we saw is, or what we've been seeing is that demand pushing up, whereas manufacturing, especially in the manufacturing side, and some in the services side too, especially in the US, you are seeing these lingering disruptions created by the pandemic, holding back supply. And consequently, that's the primary reason as to why we've seen a very large increase in inflation. There is also the question of, services prices, restaurant prices, airline prices, etc., which went down very, very sharply in developed markets, also normalizing. But let's stick to the manufacturing part of it. I think that if you look at, India's CPI also, or any country's CPI, if you break it down into different categories and ask yourself which category is the one that is actually moving up and creating inflation, these are all related to COVID-19.
Yes.
Very few of the categories that are not related to COVID-19 is moving up. So I don't think that
So to come to the question, do you think India will be forced to pay attention to inflation and either withdraw liquidity or raise rates, or both?
I think that the question is, does the COVID-19 inflation, places where the COVID-19 is the driver of inflation, do those category inflation actually move into the non-COVID-19 related items? And therefore, are we seeing generalized signs of inflation? So far, we haven't seen that. And I don't think that, any of these central bankers are going to, unless you're in Brazil or Russia, where you have genuine problems of generalized inflation, any of the other countries, whether it's DM or EM, you are going to see the central bankers act in haste at all. They are going to basically hold on to the view and more, and it is the right view, which is that this inflation pickup that you're seeing is going to be temporary. Once this COVID-19 related restrictions fade away, you are going to see supply be restored and prices are going to come down. And I think that's primarily the view of the RBI. And I think that is the right view.
Oh.
I don't think RBI should be reacting to the rise in inflation by doing doing any kind of tightening, simply because just look at the state of the economy. You need a massive amounts of slack in the economy right now, and that needs to be addressed more than inflation at this point in time.